the cod liver butter oil blend that we take. I used to get cavities all the time, and this product really helped me like 12 years ago, really turned things around for me. But it's also great for other stuff. And Green Pasture, greenpasture.org, that's where you go. They have a lot of great stuff here. They've got like muscle rubs and, like an all natural, like Vicks vapor rub type product. If you don't want to go get Vicks because it's got chemicals in it, you want something that's got like natural oils and essential oils, and it's got like their skate oil in it. If you got a cold, it's a great thing to get to. But anyway, we take the fermented cod liver oil concentrated butter oil blend. I like the cinnamon tingle flavor, cinnamon tingle. My kids will take it. My husband, we try, but we're working on him. Like we just said, we're going to working on him. I'm going to show him the end of this video. And I think he has pooped today. I'm going to go out on a limb there and say he has pooped today. So we are making progress. Use promo code Allison for 10% off at checkout. And like I said, it's a great product, but they've got lots of good stuff. greenpasture.org, Allison at checkout. All right, it's an honor to have John Tiegen here. He goes by Tig, so that's what we're going to call him, everyone. We're going to start by talking about this article that really brings up what we in newsrooms were told back around September 11th, 2012, when the attack in Benghazi happened. Tig survived that, and it's really just there's so much you could cover. I know you've done a million interviews about this, but I wanted to start here because when we were working in newsrooms back then, immediately we were told that this attack happened because people were just really mad about Islamophobic cartoons, and in particular one movie. And I'm going to show a clip in a second of Jake Tapper interviewing this guy who made the movie. But that's what we were all talking about. Okay, there's a bunch of people that are making really mean videos or cartoons about Muhammad. And what else do we expect these people to do other than just, throw grenades and shoot at us? We deserve it. And that's what happened. So could you clarify for those of us who may have not been paying attention over the last decade, why did this attack happen?
The one in Benghazi or the one in Egypt?
Yeah. Benghazi. Yeah, it's Benghazi.
Well, it was pre-planned. Just found that out actually on the 10-year remembrance that they've been planning it for about 3-4 months, I believe. So it was just a pre-plan. It had nothing to do with the video. It was just that the fact we're Americans. So that's really why it happened.
Yeah. So I'm curious, when you were you after the fact seeing reports coming out of the United States, and were they accurate, or were you wanting to rip your hair out, or were you not just really paying attention at all? Was it really not much concern of yours?
I mean, not really. We're in a conflict zone. Attacks are supposed to happen. That's why, they had us there, because it was a high threat environment. So being attacked was on the forefront. I mean, paying attention, not really. I mean, for us, again, it wasn't an FBI investigation. It was a military conflict is how I see it, because high threat zone is a combat zone. It wasn't really like it happened in France. So why the FBI took it over, I thought that was we all pretty much thought it was stupid, but it is what it is. We saw the stuff about I'd say the protests. We had no idea where the hell that came from. Because when we got into Tripoli, once we left Benghazi, actually finally got to Tripoli, we got debriefed right away. So did the guys from the State Department. When we left Tripoli, we went into Germany. We got debriefed that night as well, and so did the State Department. State Department actually had to talk to the FBI the next morning. But they asked us, like, "Hey, the FBI's here. Do you want to talk to them?" And we're looking at each other. Why the hell is the FBI here? Who cares? No, I don't want to talk to them. Because again, to us, it was an attack. It was just military assault. It wasn't like for us, it wasn't like the local thugs down the street actually came and attacked us or robbed us or anything like that. I mean, but it was the whole that it was over a video. We're just looking at you like, even the State Department guys that were there, the security detail, they're like, where the hell is this coming from?
Where was it coming from? Do you think that there was a specific and intentional redirection of the U.S. media away from the truth?
I think it was, because that was Libya. Again, this is what I was told and what I heard, that Libya is supposed to be Hillary's baby, and that was supposed to get her the presidency.
Thank you for cueing that for me so I could get the video.
Win it. And again, she was the backbone of it. She's the one that actually was overseeing, because it wasn't under military control. It was actually under State Department control. And that was the biggest problem. The State Department doesn't do military zones. Why they were controlling it is completely asinine and stupid. But that's pretty much what happened, is the State Department controlled it. So it fell on her. And that's why they were trying to lie about it and trying to say that Al-Qaeda was on the run. They weren't part of it, which they're the ones who did it.
All right, let me play this quick clip. This is a Senate hearing about Benghazi. Let me know if you can't hear it.
No doubt they were terrorists. They were militants. They attacked us. They killed our people. But what was going on and why they were doing what they were doing?
No. Again, we were misled that there were supposedly protests and then something sprang out of that, an assault sprang out of that. And that was easily ascertained that was not the fact. And the American people could have known that within days, and they didn't know that.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
What difference does it make, Tig?
Well, it makes a huge difference, because you have to know what's going on. You have to know who your enemy is. You have to know why you're attacked. That's the difference, because you can't adapt and you can't make changes if you don't know what the difference is. That's why the military, they study for other combats, because then they know what's going on, because they want to know the difference between why did this work, why did this work, why they do this versus that. Again, they're covering up the fact that it was pre-planned, pre-staged, and it was being done 4 houses down. That's what they're covering up. Because again, there was supposed to be, at the time, Hillary's pulling back, saying it's going peaceful, it's going good, they're having the elections, this is going on, but it really wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of assassinations, police chiefs were being kidnapped, and stuff like that. Political offices were being blown up. So there was all kinds of different stuff going on. And it wasn't, again, that was supposed to be her baby, and she screwed it up. So they tried to lie about it, saying that, again, it was just a protest, so it's not our fault, versus you had a terrorist organization training 4 houses down to attack a consulate while the ambassador's there. So yeah, they want to cover it up.
All right, real fast, just this quick clip from CNN. This is back a couple years after
it was called
happened.
The Innocence of Muslims, a film that portrayed the Prophet Muhammad as a philanderer and a thug. A 14-minute movie trailer launched protests across the Muslim world. But it decidedly was not to blame for the attacks on the U.S. diplomatic and CIA compounds in Benghazi, Libya, despite early comments from President Obama and other senior administration officials blaming the attacks on the movie made by Egyptian-American filmmaker Nakula Nakula. Just days after the attacks, Nakula was called before a judge to discuss whether his role in making the movie, such as by using the internet without prior approval, violated the terms of his probation. He had previously served time on an unrelated bank fraud conviction. Nakula ended up being sent back to prison.
So what I thought was really interesting about all this is that when you see, like, okay, and the guy's brought into court. So it wasn't even just that, I don't know, some random journalist had this idea and then it just spread in other newsrooms. It really does seem to be like there were very powerful people who were pushing this particular manipulation, I guess, of the narrative. And I think the longer I've been out of the news business, the more paranoid, I guess, I get about that kind of stuff, because I think most of us that work in these newsrooms are just like, we're stormtroopers. We're not the Darth Vader character. And we don't really have a lot of time to think about what we're doing anyway. And I guess if everybody else is saying it, then it's probably true, was our journalistic ethic. But now as I look back on it, I think, wow, some of this stuff seems to be very highly curated and manipulated. The filmmaker later in that interview says that he basically thinks that the Obama administration was irresponsible. That probably is a nice way to describe it, for blaming this. And, like you see Clinton talking about, like, it doesn't even really matter. I guess, in your opinion, I know maybe you can't get into their heads to know for sure, what was the benefit of spinning like the cartoon or movie Islamic hate narrative? I know you're talking about it like a cover up, but why this particular one? I mean, you could come up with several different fake reasons for an attack. Why this?
I think they're just incompetent in telling the truth. They just don't know how to actually tell the truth. Because I think if she would have told the truth of what actually happened, how it happened, she probably would have won. honestly. Because again, you can't control everything, but the fact that the consulate was attacked twice prior to 9/11, a lot of people don't realize that they're, the security, they were, taking it away versus adding, the security personnel on the ground, like they were saying, we're asking for more. So again, that's why the whole failure and trying to blame the video is trying to cover up that part of it, I believe, just for the request constantly of more security and the fact that the consulate, they know the consulate's been attacked. I was there the second time it got attacked. But luckily there was no follow-on stuff. It was just they just put a VVD in front of the wall and exploded the wall. They tried to blame it on 17 Feb, but it wasn't 17 Feb. That was part of the pre-plan, just to see what quick reaction forces would do. What would be the following? Who's going to come and help them, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So even that night, we were told by Bob to stand down. So it was just that correlation of everything. But there's a lot of stuff that also the CIA wanted to help cover up as well, because long down the road, they're actually the reason why, in my opinion, that all 4 Americans were actually killed. Besides the actual attackers, for them actually doing it. Because if the agency would have let us go and do what we were supposed to do in the beginning, Sean Smith and Ambassador Stevens would still be alive today. And if the CIA staff and Bob pretty much would have been relaying that we needed more support because we were still under attack, the support would have came. So I don't blame Hillary or anybody else for not really stand down order, but for everybody being turned around to go home. The reason why that happened is because our leadership, lack of leadership, wasn't reporting the continuous attacks. Because once we came back from the State Department, from the consulate, they failed to report that we're still being attacked. So that's why everybody got turned around. And I also think that's another level of the cover up that the agency themselves were trying to do. So I don't know. It's just so much pork inside this crap. It's unbelievable.
And did that change? Did your opinion of all of that change after all this, or did you already kind of see the way that government, military was run, was going in that direction, or already was in that direction? For instance, like I've interviewed other Marines specifically who were in situations, I don't want to call it similar to this, but basically they were just hung out to dry after like ambushes or whatever. Fred Galvin was one of the guys that was on my show. I don't know if you know him. He was also a Marine, but he wrote a book about being betrayed when he got back to America, basically after being ambushed in Afghanistan. And he said he would never even recommend anyone sign up for the Marine Corps anymore. He's so disgusted by the top level of people who are in charge of the Department of Defense and these military branches that, and he was like you signed up very early, right? You're like my husband, you signed up at 17. Mm-hmm. So, did you have this opinion, I guess, of the government's ability to handle these kinds of situations before, or did it change? In other words, how did this change the way you look at those in charge of the Department of Defense or anyone else, I guess, that's involved in, security operations like this?
I think there are people that are, again, the higher level, I would say pretty much maybe even lieutenant colonel, but definitely colonel and up, and probably, first sergeant and up. I think they're more about their career than the guys on the ground. And that's the problem. Again, Pentagon's full of all these pencil pusher douchebags that kind of forget where they came from, or they just never even been to the field and did things. I mean, look at the Afghanistan pullout. That's a prime example. I tell people too, don't join. Why risk your life for military leadership that cares more about pronouns than you getting home alive? So I do the same thing. I tell people not, until again Trump comes in, if Pete gets in and actually does what he says he's going to do and clean house and get rid of all this lame ass wokeness stuff, pronoun crap, I'm telling everybody not to join, because they're not going to have your back. You're going to get in there. You're going to get the COVID push. Oh my God, the heart issues now on the military side, talking to a lot of guys that I know that are, E7s, that see E8s, that actually see it, actually give a shit, that It's insane the heart issues that a lot of our military, active duty military, are having, and it's being silenced. So again, I'm telling people, do not join. Wait until it gets cleaned up. Again, that's why, our founding fathers never wanted a standing military. That's why the militia was in it. That's why everybody's supposed to be armed. That's why the Second Amendment was so important. So the populace itself can defend itself from invading foreign or domestic. That's why the whole purpose of it was. So why join? I mean, the higher ups do not give a crap about. You look at Milley; he's more worried about white rage in the military than what's actually going on in the military. So no, the leadership sucks.
All right, everyone, as we get closer to the end of the show, do not forget you can support by joining my wine club, AllisonWinePromo.com. You are going to get hand-selected wines that are fit for my palate, which is like very clean, natural fermentation, hand-picked grapes that are grown between 6,000 and 9,000 feet. Some vineyards that are over 200 years old, small family operations, very limited production. So you can't get them really anywhere else. And it's a great way to support the show. If you join the club, you'll get 6 bottles every 3 months. And then you have something on hand as a present. You can drink them yourself. You won't drink a lot because they're not cheap, but they are great. They are great, great wines. So you will enjoy them yourself. And like I said, they're great wines to give away. If you're not a wine drinker and you just want to support, go to AllisonWinePromo.com. Hope to see you over there. You'll get all the backstory on all of the wines. They all come with just really interesting stories, the families that have been in the business for so long. And Diego, who's the guy that goes all over the world looking for these wines, they're selected just for this club. And like I said, in a lot of cases, it's just like maybe 1,000 bottles or something. So AllisonWinePromo.com.